Ya, halo, assalamualaikum Zain Rafiq, Dr. Zain Rafiq.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof. How are you, Prof?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, and thank you for your willingness to join this conference, this
Thank you,
country
Prof,
conference.
for inviting me. And I must say, your
Okay,
campus is really beautiful. I just,
because you see in video,
yeah.
you was.
Assalamualaikum Pak Kamto.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you?
Fine. Yeah. Shall we start now,
Yes,
Pak
okay.
Zaki?
Please.
Oke.
Ya.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Praise to Allah because He led us to join in this meeting in the event of pre-conference workshop by ICOSI 2021 with the topic how to write a good scientific article on 29 June 2021. First of all, we would like to welcome to the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Professor Skamta, and then the Chairperson for the ICOSI 2021, Dr. Yeni, and then for the speaker today, Dr. Zain Rafiq from Pakistan, and for all the participants who already joined today. And then today we do have some agenda. First is the opening, second is the Quran recitation, and then welcome speech. After that will be in the main workshop. And then after that we do have announcements, and then will be closed by the closing agenda. So for the opening, let's open this pre-conference workshop with say basmalah bersama-sama, basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, next we will continue to the Quran recitation. Please the operator to share the Quran recitation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل ادعوا الذين زعمتم من دون الله لا يملكون مثقال ذرة في السماوات ولا في الأرض وما لهم فيهما من شرك وما له منهم من ظهير ولا تنفع الشفاعة عنده إلا لمن أذن له إذا فزع عن قلوبهم قالوا الحق وهو العلي الكبير قل من يرزقكم من السماوات والأرض قل الله قل الله وإنا أو إياكم هدى أو في ضلال مبين وإنا أو إياكم لعلى هدى أو في ضلال مبين صدق الله العظيم. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you for the Quran recitation. Okay, without spending more time, let's continue to the next agenda. Will be the welcome speech. The first welcome speech will be delivered by the chairperson of ICOSI 2021 for the Dr. Yeni Rosilawati. Time is yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pak Zaki. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable Vice Rector of Academic Affairs of Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta and the Speaker of Pre-Conference of 5th ICOSI 2020, Dr. Zain Rafiq from Islamabad, Pakistan, and also all the participants of Pre-Conference of ICOSI 2021. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us the blessing and the guidance so that we can gather in this forum. On behalf of the organizing committee of ICOSI, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you, all the participants of ICOSI pre-conference that held by today. ICOSI, or International Conference on Sustainable Innovation, serves as a forum to facilitate the scholars, policymakers, practitioners, and other interested parties at all levels from Indonesia and also from abroad to present their novel ideas, to promote cutting-edge research, and to expand collaboration networking. As the global situation is still horrifying with the COVID-19, so ICOSI in this year will be running virtually on August 26 until 27. So that will be today's conference. This year, ICOSI committee has received more than 1,030 300 abstracts, from 11 focal conferences that ranging from health and medical sciences, social humanities and laws, and also technology and engineering. This pre-conference program is aimed to improve our skill to produce more quality manuscript. And today, we will be guided by Dr. Zain Rafiq from Pakistan. I know him well because he was my colleague in University Sains Malaysia. And he also get the Best Thesis Award from University Sains of Malaysia and also produced so many papers and Scopus Index journals. So I do hope that all of you enjoy the program and stay healthy and happy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Dr. Yeni Rosilawati for the welcoming speech. Let's move to the next welcome speech. Will be delivered by the Vice Rector for the Academic Affairs. For Prof. Sukamta, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Whom I respect speaker Dr. Zain Rafiq and the moderator Dr. Zuhud Razaki, chairperson of 5th ICOC 2021, Dr. Yeni Rosilawati, and all participants of ICOC 2021 pre-conference today. Praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. May peace and blessing be upon the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I welcome the ICOC 2021 pre-conference activities to enlighten us all on how to write good articles. It is important for authors to be able to write articles according to the rules and art of scientific articles writing, so that the quality of their manuscript meets the criteria for publication in reputable international scientific journals, index proceedings, both Scopus and Web of Science. So that's why this pre-conference activity was carried out. The university leadership really hopes that the outcome of ICOC 2021 will be better than ICOC 2020, when the number of articles that can be published in Scopus Index journals or Scopus Index proceedings increases. Likewise, articles written by UMY lecturers, I hope that the number of quality will also increase, so that the number of documents in the Scopus database will increase, so that this will have an impact on university ranking. For that, I ask all of you to join and active in this event carefully. I thank to Dr. Yeni Rosilawati, Dr. Zuhud Razaki, and Iman Yaranti, and especially to Dr. Zain Rafiq, and also the entire ICOC teams who have worked hard to this day. Congratulations on the pre-conference. Good luck. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Prof. Sukamta for giving such a good welcome speech that can increase our motivation, our spirit to write more and more, especially for the Scopus Index proceeding or Index journal. So today, actually, we are very honored because the speaker of today is a good writer, and his publication are so many. Yeah, you can find in his Google Scholar or ResearchGate or in the Scopus author profile that you can find. His publication are so many. So we hope that today's speaker, which is Dr. Zain Rafiq, can give so much his knowledge regarding how to write a good scientific paper or scientific article. So in this chance, which is in International Conference on Sustainable Innovation, ICOC 2021, the quality of the papers will be increased, and then many papers can go or publish in the Scopus Index journal, or maybe minimum Scopus Index proceeding, yeah, or published by the Atlantis Press, because ICOC 2021 also collaborate with the Atlantis Press. So before I give the time to Dr. Zain Rafiq, I would like to little bit or brief introduction about today's speaker. So today's speaker name is Dr. Zain Rafiq. His institution is Department of Governance and Public Policy, National University of Modern Language, Islamabad, Pakistan. So if you are willing to maybe invite him or maybe want to discuss him, we also disclose his email here. And then like Dr. Yeni Rosilawati mentioned before, actually Dr. Zain Rafiq was colleague of Dr. Yeni in University Science Malaysia in public policy and planning. And his research area is local governance, participatory governance, and participatory development. Okay, I don't want to take more time in this agenda or in this event, so I would like to invite Dr. Zain Rafiq to give his speech or presentation today. Dr. Zain Rafiq, hello.
Oh, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Please, Doctor, so maybe your time about 40 minutes. After that, we will continue with the discussion. Okay, time is yours, Doc.
Can you please see the PPT?
Yes, we can see, Doc.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Dr. Yani Rosilawati, for inviting me for this talk. So my name is Dr. Zain Rafiq, and I am a PhD in public policy from University Science Malaysia, and I'm working as assistant professor of public policy in Namal, Islamabad. So today I will talk about how to write a good scientific article. Writing a good scientific article is very, very essential not for our academic careers, but also for our good research, So today I will tell you some techniques about writing a good research articles. If we talk about the art of writing, writing is nature's way of letting you know how sloppy your thing is. So we must keep this thing in our mind that we cannot be perfect. We must write. If we talk about the contents of today's talk, I will tell you about what actually the research is, what are the different types of scientific writing, and what actually the global view of publication, current global view of publications, and what are the high impact factor journals, and how we can target them to publish our articles, and what are the different attributes of a good manuscript. What are some of the technical details which actually the reviewers see in your article, and some of the actionable suggestions, and how can you do the proofreading and pointers to the reading. So this is the content of today's talk. So when we talk about the research, the first thing that comes in our mind, that is something which is very difficult. And the word research always scares us. So actually, what actually the research is, it is actually a very interesting phenomenon. So if we look at the definition of research, it can be called as the systematic investigation into and study of the materials and resources in order to establish facts and reach to the new conclusions. Actually, we investigate something very systematically. Have you ever noticed that if you are looking at the newspaper to see what movies are playing, that is also research. And if you have ever looked at the TV guide, which TV programs are running and what are the listing on the TV, that is also research. So research is simply looking up information about a specific research topic and adding your 2 pennies to that research topic. So hope it's not that scary, isn't it? So if we look at the types of scientific writings, there are different types of scientific writing. The first one is research articles or research papers, which we are focusing now. And the second are review articles, which actually tells about the latest development and sustainable development on the current research topics. And there are research reports, projects for funding, patents, and dissertations. But if we look at the research article specifically, the research article is actually the ultimate product of your intellectual pursuit. And actually, you are reporting that findings to your audience that are very valid and that are very new and original. And it actually adds the understanding to the current literature. You are adding something to the current literature. And they always follow a structure and style, which in research academia, it is called as Emerald. We will discuss it later. So if I'll just take you to the global view of publications in social sciences and sciences. So currently there are about 11,000 journals that are ISI abstracted, which is, in other words, we call it impact factor journals. And about 40,000 are, more than 40,000 are Scopus abstracted. And Google Scholar has become, we know this, that it has become the world bibliometry. If you want to read some articles, if you want to know what current articles are being published, you can simply go to the Google Scholar and create alerts for you. And you would astonish to know that in a year, more than 2 million articles are being published worldwide. And in 2020, there were about 2.3 million articles that were published. And about 50% of them are never cited by anyone. Or we can say they are not read by anyone. And these are some of the hard facts that 90% readers, they just glance through the content list. They even don't read the abstract. And only 5% open the journal to review through the titles. That doesn't mean they read your article. And less than 2% researchers, they read the abstract and introduction. So, and only 1% of the researchers, they will read your paper fully. So this is the current situation of the Indonesia. If we look at the Indonesia, up till 2009 and 10, Indonesia was producing less than 1,000 papers. If you look at the 2001 to 2007, they were almost producing 300, 400 scientific research papers, technical papers annually. I took the data from World Bank. So, but if you look at the trajectory after 2016, you can see that Indonesia is progressing by leaps and bounds. It is producing more than 30,000 articles in a year now. So it's a huge achievement. And if we look at other Southeast Asia countries, so currently Indonesia is at number 1 position, surpassing Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, and all other different Southeast Asia countries. So we can conclude that currently the research culture in Indonesia is progressing. So now I'll come towards what are the high impact factor journals and how we can hit them. So actually, it's not a very it's very superficial, but impact factor journals are usually impacted on the base of the frequency of citations. If the paper is being cited by other papers, that would be highly impacted. But this is internationally accepted measure of quality. There are so many lacunas and loopholes in that, but we have to accept this because it's internationally accepted. So how you can publish in a highly impact factor journal? This is a pictorial depiction of how you can hit the impact factor. You will say that this is the picture of Newton. He saw the apple was falling, so he came up with the idea of law of gravity. If you have this kind of idea or a sound idea or a new idea, you can easily hit the impact factor journal very easily. But on the other hand, if you just follow that oranges also follow the law of gravity, then it would be called as the they cannot be by the high impact factor journals. So you cannot publish in the high, because there is nothing new in it. If we look at the attributes of a good manuscript, these are the few attributes we'll discuss in detail later, but your manuscript should be very concise and powerful. It must be telling a story. It must be to the point, because most of the articles, they have many research objectives. They are trying to do much thing, but ended up doing nothing. And it must be free from grammatical and stylistic errors. And it must recognize contribution to others and what you are actually adding to the contribution of others. And technically, it must be correct. So before going towards how to write a good article, you must decide for the journal for publishing. If you have time, if you think your idea is very strong, and if you have temperament, you can aim high. So you can submit in a highly impact factor journal, but you have to decide your target journal before writing or drafting the article. So this is the main issue which we don't follow. We just write an article and submit it to different journals, which actually don't follow the technical guidelines of that specific journal. But if you are writing a specific article, you must shortlist some journal and try it according to their point of view. They all follow some particular ideas. They have more cited journals. You can just follow papers, you can follow them and try it and follow that particular technique they are in that journal. So, but if you think you don't have time and you don't have temperament, because in academia, the publication pressure is too much, that is actually a very, very worst thing which academia is facing, the pressure to publication, which leads towards a very ill quality of journal publication. So if you think you don't have time, you can follow the second tier journals, like which are Scopus Index and which are not impact factor, but they are actually good journal and they are good publishers. So you can target them in those journal. If you submit with the proper guidelines and agenda, you can publish within 6 months or 8 months at max. So you must follow, you can submit in those journals, which are second tier journals, but they are good. And you also have to see the publication frequency of that journal. Only follow those journals which are bi-monthly. So you would find so many journals which are bi-monthly, so your chances of selection would be more. Okay, so these are some of the points you have to consider for publishing. The first is what actually the target audience of your paper. What actually is the prestige of journal and your own institution, and if it has open access and subscribed access. If you have some like Indonesia now, guys, you are investing so much in publications. All impact factor journals, they have an open access facility. If you will submit in those journal and you will check on open access facility, they will charge you about $2,500 to $5,000, but your chances of getting accepted go more than 47% on average. All impact factor journal which have impact more than 3. So if you submit in those journals, every good journal nowadays is offering open access APC charges. So you must consider this instead of wasting your money to the predatory journals, and so many fraudulent activities are being done, mostly coming from India. So you must submit in these open access journals. Even every second tier journals, they are also offering open access submission. If you are ready to pay the fee for open access journal, your chances of selection would be 47%. But in the second tier, they could be go higher if your manuscript is good, and your publication time would also be saved. So this is the thing you must keep in your mind. If you have funding, you must submit in a good impact factor journal and choose the option of open access. And secondly, you must look at the impact factor of the journal and probability of acceptance. Every journal nowadays have its probability of acceptance, which is about 14% to 40%. And the publication times, nowadays, the decision or rejection is quite fast. And the first thing before going towards how to write a research articles, you must know your peer review process, how the peer review process is going to help. And you must be ready for that. I'll show you an example of respond to the reviewer at the end. It will help you actually. As per one, I was just reading that most of the people, when they get major revisions and minor revisions, they are not able to do so, and hence their paper is rejected. So you must keep this thing in your mind, that only your reviewer will read your paper more thoroughly than anyone else. He will only read your paper. I just have to show that only 2% of the community would read your paper, and 50% they won't read your paper, and the remaining they will just read abstract and introduction. So you must keep these things background in your mind before going towards the technical detail of manuscript writing. So actually, in the current global lexicon of academia, we follow this EMRAD technique to write full article. First, you have a title, then you have author's name, then abstract, keywords, and you follow EMRAD. EMRAD means first you write introduction, then methods, then results and discussions. Some adds literature review after the introduction, but that is actually not a right technique. So you must follow this technique. This is the consensus of all the senior researchers is to follow this format of writing an article. So you must follow this EMRAD structure. The introduction tell you what actually is what you are going to answer. And materials, methods, experimental procedure actually tells what did you do, what you did, how did you find the answer of your research questions. And the results, they actually tell you what actually you find. And discussion, what does it mean? And you correlate your results with the your literature with the results. And in this discussion section, you can bring your literature review very to the point literature review that is discussing your results and how your results are different from other work, and what is your actual contribution. So if you will follow this structure, your chance of acceptance get more. So we just come towards this EMRAD. First thing is the title. The title is the backbone of an article, and you must keep this thing in your mind that your citation, they are solely depends on the articles, the title of the articles. If your article have good keywords, if your article have a good title, your chances of citation, your chances of going towards the, I am telling you as a reviewer, the reviewer only reads, the editor will only read your title and your introduction. And the rest of the paper, they will skim through and they will send it to the revision, to the review process. So your title must be very good. This is an example of a good title and a bad title. And if you look at a good title elements, it would have keywords. It won't have any abbreviations. It won't have any jargon. It won't have any humor. It won't have any geographical location. No need to write citizen participation in Indonesia. Actually, that will minute the reading of your article. So spellings must be correct. It must follow the journal guidelines, and it must clearly telling what is the point of the article. And if we look at the abstract the next thing is abstract. Your abstract is the most critical part of the paper. If your abstract is good, your paper is good. So your abstract must be informative, it must be indicative and reflective, the main story of the article. Whosoever read your abstract, he must, she must know what you are talking about. It must be very crisp, it must be very accurate, and it should give the quick idea of the contents, that it's a very interesting paper, we must not skip this. And usually you must write the abstract at the end of your research paper. Don't write at the start, write at the end of your research paper. When you are finished with your research paper, then come to the abstract. And this is the pattern where you can write the abstract. First line, you can follow the problem definitions and challenges which the topic is facing. And in current day, no one answer to that. There are very limited findings of that particular research question. And you have developed this and you have proposed this. If you would write this, your chances of selection gets more. And introduction. Now we come to the Imrad. The first thing is introduction. Introduction, you must keep this thing in your mind, that this is the most read part of your article. If less than 2% readers actually citing your articles, among those 2%, only more than 98% would only read your introduction and cite your paper. They won't go into the details. So everyone who is reading your article, they will focus on your introduction. They will just focus on introduction. So your introduction will actually set the scene of your article. So it must be very focused. It must be very pertinent, and you have to quote the very latest literature, and it shouldn't be more than 2 pages, and it shouldn't be very long, and it must summarize your the main jerk of the your article. So here is one of the guidelines how you can write your introduction. So first you have to establish the territory and tell us about the importance of your topic, and present an overview of the current research, what is being happening. And what is being happening, on that you must establish your niche. And you must oppose an existing assumption. If you are doing a qualitative research, you must reveal a research gap, that this has not been happened. And this actually is the contribution of your research. And this actually is the novelty of your research. And on the base of that, you must formulate your research question. Keep this in your mind, that there should not be more than one research question. If you have so many research questions, write so many papers. Don't bring 3-4 research questions in a single paper. In the paper, you must focus on one question, one objective. And then you must occupy that niche, that sketch the input of your work, outline your method, scheme. You can do like this. So if you would write introduction like this, it would actually help you to grab the attention of your editor, your reviewer, because in the introduction, you are just telling them how important your work is. So the method sections, there are different point of view on writing the methodology section. Some reviewers and some, they like very detailed note, but detail must not be, for instance, if you are applying the thematic analysis by Brown and Clark, you must not write the steps what Brown and Clark is telling. Everyone is telling those steps. They can go and read the Brown and Clark steps. That is already established method. You need not to explain. If you are applying the structural equation modeling, you need not to explain the assumption of structural equation modeling, because they are already set. And you can just provide a general summary and you can also see this reference. And if you want, you can add supplementary materials, which you will send to the editors. So what details are needed from where you collected your data, from where you actually went and collected your data from, how did you apply those tests, and these are some of the details which are needed. But don't provide the details like there are 6 steps in the thematic analysis and you are apply those steps. These are those steps. In a paper we don't need that. In thesis we can write that, but in paper we don't need to repeat the details of established methods. You just have to name them. So if you don't provide the details in the method section, your paper would be rejected, because the reviewers would think that you don't have sufficient evidence of your findings, and maybe you have used some unethical things. So you must explain the method section in a very detailed manner. And as far as the results are section is concerned, it is the most easiest section which you can write. You don't have to bring in your insight in the results section. You just have to report the results. You can use descriptive headings, and you can use data representation, tables and figures. You only have to report your findings. But keep this thing in your mind: your result must be correlating with your research objective. They must be correlating with your abstract. They must be correlating with your introduction. Like when we read your results, we must know that in introduction, the problem which you actually highlighted and the answer which you are going to answer the question, that is being answered in the results. Please don't repeat information. Please only write those information which is needed, and there is no need to explain the tables and figures, because this research is specifically for the academia. They can have the interpretation of the tables themselves. Don't explain, just give them a glimpse of those tables. So these are some of the points which you have to consider while writing the result sections. Your organization should be in a very good way, and it must include appropriate number of figures and tables, and please avoid speculations. What I see as a reviewer is, in the finding sections, the people write their findings are above the board, you know. They have find something which is very dynamic, and don't write these words: it actually proved, it confirmed, it has removed all previous doubts that my research is this. You must remember that science is dynamic and ever changing. So today you have come up with these findings, tomorrow someone will negate these findings. Never use these kinds of words. Yes, now we come towards the discussions. It is the harder section to write, but it is also the most important and easiest section to write. If you have read a very good literature, to write discussion is very easy, very, very easy. In the discussion section, you actually correlate your findings with the existence knowledge, how they are relevant with the existing knowledge, how they are different with the existing knowledge. What discrepancies you have answered which has not been answered previously, and what actually you have added on the current research literature. If you add something on the current research literature which is novel, you can easily publish in a highly impact factor journal. But our main issue is that we do a very good research, we come up with the great findings, but we are not able to tell to the reviewer that we have come up with something very different. So this is the main jerk which you have to give to the reviewer, that what you are discussing with, when you will be discussing the existing knowledge with the findings, you would have a great impact on the reviewers, and the possibility of your paper of selection is gets more. But if there is another suggestion, if you think that you cannot write, if you your idea is not that much novel, but in the social sciences in the developing countries, research is very far behind than other different countries. Currently, the research, most research is coming from China, USA, Europe, all, and India. But you can simply say that you have test this theory or this notion or this idea in the context of Indonesia, and that is the novelty of your research. And you can hit the second tier journals. That would actually help. So these are some of the points you will have to give in the discussion without exaggerating. Don't exaggerate, just write what is the new about your findings and what are the conclusion, summary, perspectives, implications of your research, and what are the research limitations and what are the need for the future research. And you can also add the theoretical implication and possible practical applications. You can add these in your discussion. So conclusion is actually keep this thing in your mind that conclusion is not your introduction. Some they just give the introduction at the conclusion. It must be consistent with your experimental and introduction, but you just have to report the key findings. It should be not the summary of the work done. Abstract is doing fine. Just give the key findings and that's it. And report in referencing in a good way, like whatever the journal is demanding, please do that. Now we come towards the last step of our today's talk, which talk about some simple actionable suggestions that will make your paper better. So the first thing is, which you must keep in your mind, don't wait, start writing. So if we look at the writing paper models, this is the model which is being used by most of the academia. You come up with an idea, you do your research, and you start writing your paper. But it actually have a lot of lacunas. It have a lot of issues. When you come up with idea and you do your research and you spend 3-4 months in doing the research, and then you come up with the idea that what the research you have done and what the findings you have done, they are of no use, then you waste your time. What should you do is write your idea, start writing paper, and do your research accordingly. This model will actually force you to be clear focused, because when you will start writing your paper, you are open to the dialogue. You can check with critiques, you can check with the collaborations, your seniors, you can do the reality check that what you are writing, actually it makes sense or no. And if it is making sense, then do your research. And you must keep thing in your mind that writing papers is not primary mechanism of doing just reporting your research. When you will write paper and your idea will come into the whiteboard, you will bring different changes. So start writing your paper, start writing your introduction, and see why it is different from the current literature, how it is novel. So if you would do this and then you do your research, your time would be saved and the quality of your paper would also be enhanced. And it is usually recommended by all the journals, Microsoft, elsewhere. They have recommended this model. And the second most important step is your idea. What your idea is. An idea will actually infect the mind of your reader with your ideas like a virus. And usually the greatest idea, they seem worthless, but actually if you have some idea, if you have some ping that is one clear sharp idea, you must start writing. If you have some eureka which is very strong, you must start writing and looking for this. But if you have lots of ideas, which is actually the main reason of failures in the paper, if you have lots of idea, you can write lots of paper, but don't bring lots of idea in a single paper. Yours paper must be a single ping. If you hear that ping, yes, Prof. Yeah.
Nothing,
And
nothing, Doc. Please continue.
okay. And if you can hear that ping, and you have that idea, and from where your idea will come, if you will read a very good literature. If I just challenge you, if you read 20 papers on your subject published in a highly impact factor journal, you will know where the research gap is and what is the current scholarship and from where your idea would come. And this idea you will have to discuss in your paper. We write paper, but we don't write our contribution. In introduction section, you will have to the main contribution of this paper is you have to tell this. Don't let your reader guess that what the contribution of your paper is. And many good papers, they have great ideas, but they don't distill it. They are not able to represent them. So you must follow that, and you must have to write in your introductory section that contribution is this. And the third one is telling the story of your the paper should be like telling a story. If you look this, if you will write like this, here is the problem, and you have to tell the reader that it was an interesting problem, and you have to tell them that it is unsolved problem. If it is solved in the developed countries, it is unsolved in the developing countries case. And here is your idea, here is your idea, and here is your idea and how it works, and then you can tell how your idea as compared to the different people's approaches. If you will follow this approach, it is very interesting approach, and actually it will in your way towards the success. So if you would follow this step, you just take a whiteboard and you can sit with your colleagues and tell them this is the problem we are facing, and this problem should be answered. The first thing is the students come with a problem which has not been answered, but the question is if it is an interesting problem or no. So if it is an unsolved problem and it is an interesting problem, it is a novel problem, and here is your idea, and you have to tell how your idea works. If you are able to do this, you would be successful. And this is the most important point. You have to tell the readers that your contributions, about your contribution, in the introductory section, state your contribution, describe the problems, the problem is interested, and state your contribution. It will hit the reviewer. It will easily hit the reviewer, and you can use the word like this, the list of contribution, this person changed the claims like this, and you can also write the list of contributions, my first contribution, second contribution, here is an example.
Hello, Dr. Zain, are you still there?
Zen, your microphone still off.
And your share is off.
Yeah, I am here, but my mic was muted.
Oh, can you start from the last part?
Okay, I was just telling you guys that you have to state your contribution. You have to state your contribution. You don't let the reader guess that what your contribution is. You have to simply tell them what is the novelty of your research, how your research is different from others' work, and why it is much needed. And you would only know this when you will read. If you don't read, you cannot write. I'm just challenging you. Just you read 10 good papers, and you would know where the research is needed, where the research is gap is, where is the scarcity of the literature is. So this is you can this like this bullet, you can simply write your contribution in the introductory section, and the mostly we just follow this format of writing the article. We write introduction and then we come towards the related work, which actually is not needed. You have to bring it to the in your discussion section. You just introduce your problem, come up with your methodologies and your findings, and you discuss the literature in the discussion section, and don't discuss the literature which is general and not correlating with your research findings. If you will do this, your paper in impact factor journal would not be accepted in any case. And second, lastly, listen to your the readers. First, when you are publishing your paper, you can show it to some of the experts. You can show it to non-experts, even they are good. They can bring some corrections to your journal, your paper. So give them your paper, take their expert advice on that, get your, a good plan is if you tell your professor, if you can help me to ensure that I describe my work fairly, if you will do this, they can guide you a bit. So it is very, very essential to look at the to take help from the experts. And lastly, you have to listen to your reviewers. 70% of the papers, as per the report of Elsewhere, they are rejected because the author, they don't listen to the reviewer. I just tell you that you must treat every reviewer like gold dust. You must treat them like gold dust. I'll just show you a sample of a highly impact factor journal review, and you can check how every single point raised by the reviewer is answered in a very polite manner. It would be very, very, really, really hard for you because you are the one who know your paper, but it is also more than important, It is also more than important. So take the criticism in a positive way. Don't respond like this. I have already this, so I have already done so. Thank them warmly for every single comment they have made and give your point of view. I bet you they will accept this. And this is the summary of all the actionable points. First, start writing. Identify your key area, which is very, very must. You must identify the loopholes in the current lexicon of the research topic which you are interested in. And when you will read the literature, you can simply go to the Google Scholar and create alert for the topic you are interested in. Every 3 days, 4 days, all the topics which have been published, they will come to your email, and you can just skim through them and see what new research is being produced on your research topic, and then tell the story. And nailing your contribution is the must, and relative work must. If you are focusing on a highly impact factor journal, literature review must be discussed within the discussion section, and you must put your readers first. Show your manuscript to some of the experts, And the final step is the revision and proofreading. That comes to after you show it to your professor. Now the manuscript comes to you, read it 1,000 times, dozen times, and see from where you can contribute, give the timeline to every reader so then they can contribute. Revision will actually increase the effectiveness of your study. It will support information. It will check the order and flow of the articles. And it must be leaving reader with a new question, like what is the next way forward after your research? What is next research should be going to do? So these are the criteria for acceptance. Your article should be original, it should be original. You know more than me what originality is. Your idea must be novel and your research methodology must be creative. And you must be answering some new important research question and your findings must be novel. And your scientific quality that always depend on the experiments and the data you have collected. So, and your depth of investigation should be sound. If you have all these criteria in your research paper, submit in a very highly impact factor journal. But if you think you are lagging somewhere, send it to the second tier journals. And these are some of the major reasons for the rejection. The first one is if it is just confirmation of previous research, you cannot publish in highly impact factor journal. If it have a poor methodological design, experimental design, your paper would be rejected. If target journal is not suitable, your paper would be rejected. You can simply go to the Sage elsewhere, and you can. They all have. You can write your research topic there, and they will tell you the journals related to your research topic. You can simply go to the Google Scholar and write your topic and see in what journals your topic is being published. And the last thing is about our Asian countries, which is weak written and presentation and language. We lack this. So if you have some funding, you can send your paper for a proofreading. The last thing is the most important factor that can influence whether your manuscript will be considered, reviewed for publication, are the title, abstract, cover letter, and your reputation based on your previous work. If you have this, your paper will go to the review process. So you have to focus on the title, abstract, and introduction. Then your paper can go to the review process. Here, I just want to show you that is very, very important. I just want to show you. Okay, so this is a response to a reviewer regarding the paper. This paper is published in a highly impact factor journal. So if you see, this is the response to the reviewers by the author. This paper was why do professionals attend conferences, the challenges for HR. So they asked to change the title, they have changed the title. And to the editor, you can read yourself that how they respond to the editor's response like this, they have responded, they have done every changes asked by the two reviewers. I will take you to the reviewer's comment. You can just see this is the editor's response, this is the editor's comments, and they have answered to the editor comment also. You can see he has, raised a point, and look at the response. Thank you for offering us the opportunity to improve our work. We have considered all your comments and below we respond to each of them. We want to thank you to review for feedback. Look at the language of the response and look at the comment he gave and look at the answer. Thank you for sharing the useful observation and also for your feedback. Consistent with your views, we have done this. And you can agree to something, you can disagree to something, but you have to answer like this. And look at both, like, thank you for your remark. And if we come towards the reviewer response like this, this has reviewer raised the question, and this is how they have responded. We'd like to thank you for your positive remark on. We also would like to thank you for your valuable feedback. And we believe that paper has hugely improved by revisiting along your feedback. And these are the point. Please accept he said there are some technical grammatical error in the abstract, and this is how we have responded. Please accept our apologies for the typological grammatical error. Before submitting the revise, the native English speaker in the team carefully read it through the manuscript to ensure and the typos were removed. So this is how you can answer to the reviewer. When you will do like this, your chances of acceptance after the major revision, they are bright. So this is how you have to answer to the reviewers, which is very, very important if you are submitting in a good journal. If you get your major revisions and you see these revisions are too much to do, you can follow this pattern easily. Don't do too much revisions, but just answer your response should be very polite, easy. You must be agreeing with the reviewer, and just add your 2 pennies to that. Just add 3-4 lines to the reviewer's response so that he is satisfied with your work. If you will do this, your chances of paper acceptance, there would be more. So this was all from my side. If you guys have any question, anything, I am more than welcome to answer your research questions.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Zain Rafiq for the great speech and presentation. I really do agree that if we want to start to have a good quality of paper, we should, when we do have the idea, start to write and then do the research. Because if we have idea and then start the research and then after that research and write, I think the time will be more needed. So when we do have the idea, write and do research, usually I do that kind of method. Thank you very much for the great presentation. So can you stop your share, Doc? So I will share the discussion or the question from the participants.
Sure.
Okay, so here we do have some question, Doc. So it is up to you. You can read down and then directly answer, or I read for you and then you answer. It's up to you. So I read for you and then you answer, Doc, or you just read and then answer?
Okay, first the question is from Thika Maria Eliana. That is, she's asking about the predatory journals, and actually, you know, I agree with you, ma'am. This is the situation is really bad. You know, the situation is really bad because the pressure of publications has affected the lecturers so much. They have to teach their classes, so many classes, and they have to do their research. So this pressure of publications and to publish, if we talk about impact factor journals, if you just follow a normal route, usually a paper takes more than 10 months, at least 10 months to 1 year and 7 months to get published. And in the meanwhile, you can get your paper rejected as well. So people are trapped in the predatory journals. And this condition is really very bad, you know, but what you can do is there are few websites which actually, you know, tells about what are the predatory journals. You can follow those websites. And nowadays, what actually is happening, there are few journals which are good journals, but they don't have a very active websites. What actually the people do is they make a website on the name of that journal and start publishing, and even they make fool scoopers, you know, and they pay and the people start publishing there. So I will just recommend you to if you want to publish quickly, instead of sending your paper to the predatory journals and the so-called publishers, you can go to the open access journals, second tier open access journals, in the Taylor and Francis, in the Emerald. To publish in Emerald open access journal is very easy. You know, your chances of selection gets about 50-60%. So you must follow, instead of spoiling your money there, you must follow you must submit your paper in open access. But I actually don't like this idea for some are good academicians, some are good researchers. In National University of Singapore, we have two tracks. One is academic tracks. If you are a good academic, you must follow that track. If you are not a good researcher, and you must, if you are not a good academic, you must follow the research. And regarding the question of Dora, yes, it is very much possible to do a paper on a research that have been conducted 5 years ago. If it is related to sciences, it might not be very interesting because in the science that the literature and the technology changes so rapidly. But if it is from social sciences or management, communication, you can publish it in 5 years. I have idea that so many I have read which were published about, because the social settings, they take almost decades to get changed. You know, if the social setting of a community is changing, it takes loads of time to change. You know. Regarding Muhammad Adnan question, if you want to publish in Q1 journals, there are a few. If you want to publish fastly, there are few Q1 journals which publish so fastly. Like, but they require fee. You know, if you have funding, you can submit your journal in. The publisher is Hindwai. You can go and search Hindwai publishers. Most of their journals are Q1. And you can also go and find MDPI. Most of their journals are Q1. You can also go and Frontiers, most of their journals are Q1. And they charge from $2,000 to $4,005. You can also go to the PLOS, very reputed journal, but they also publish within the maximum time is within 45 days from acceptance, from submission to acceptance. So you can, if your professor have funds, you must go to these 4 publishers. They can publish within 2 months. We can find public health problem in different. Like Francos, you know, but you know, what I think is, you know, public health research in developing country is really very less. You know, there are so many highly impact factor journal which want to know about the Indonesia. They want to know about what actually is being happen on public health in developing countries, but research is not coming from those countries. Most of the research is from the developed countries. There is a big scope of public. If I get a chance to do my PhD again, I will do in the public health, because there is a scarcity of a very rich scarcity of the literature in the public health domain. You know. I think if I very sorry, but I don't agree with you. There are so many journals like social science, medicine, medical, and public health, which and there are so many other journals which publish so fastly. If you will explore, I can also help you. If you contact me through email, I will send you some journals which publish so fast, and they want to actually know about what are the public health conditions in developing countries, and not much research is coming from those developing countries. Like the question of Apri Adni, I will recommend you to read. You know, it's very normal. It's very normal. And because we are just stuck to one research idea, and we are just we read more about that idea, and when we write that it's a big problem, and it's very normal. All I can recommend you is to read. You know, I challenge you read 50 research papers on your research topic, and then you ask yourself if your the scripts are similar or different. They would definitely be different. When you will read too much, You would know the depth of literature, where the literature is scarce. You can simply explore those areas. Then your this issue would be solved. Writing a good qualitative paper is really very difficult. You know, we come from developing countries, and our expression of writing is it's not like natives. And qualitative paper, they really demand a very high proficiency of English, because you need to present your ideas in a very strong manner. My suggestion to you is, if you want to write a good qualitative research paper, you have to read a lot. You know, you have to have a very strong command on the concepts, because when you are writing qualitative paper, you are actually challenging the concepts. In the quantitative paper, you are simply negating a theory, accepting a theory, you are adding your 2 pennies to the current literature. But when you are writing a qualitative paper, you are actually criticizing or discussing the whole notion, you know, whole concepts, a set of theories. So it is a bit difficult to write a qualitative paper and get it accepted in a very good journal. There are some techniques to write a quantitative paper. First, your research methodology should be very strong. There is a proper mechanism of writing a quantitative paper, like IMRAD. You can follow a format of writing a qualitative paper where you focus more on the concepts. I can, if you email me, I can send you a few scripts of qualitative writing. There are a few journals like Qualitative Sociology, Social Indicator Research, Quality of Life Journal, and Quality and Quantity Journal of SAGE, which you can focus to see what format they are following. So, but you have to if you want to publish in a highly impact factor journal, you will have to read a lot and come up with the concepts which are very strong, very strong. And the thematic analysis, if I recommend you do if you are doing content analysis, follow a proper format. If you are doing a thematic analysis, follow that 6 steps of thematic analysis. So your chances of getting acceptance would be more. Okay, that is it.
Okay, wait, Doc. We still have one more question. Please wait, Doc. From Handayani.
Prof, I already told you this in my research literature, in my presentation, that what actually reviewers and editors consider the novelty. When you will read the latest literature, you know, when you will read the the editors and reviewers, they actually don't know what actually the novelty of your submitted article. You have to tell them. You will have to tell them what is the novelty of your submitted articles. I told you in the introduction section, you have to write the novelty of your submitted article. Don't let your reviewers and your editors guess the novelty of your submitted articles. When you will, your idea, like I told you, what actually the problem was, you know, and that was an interesting problem. And that problem is not answered by the previous research, or they answered that problem, but the findings are not that much satisfying, or this case, in Indonesia's case, the findings may be differ. So these are the novelties which you have to tell the editors. They won't know the novelty of your research articles by reading your research articles. You have to mention it, and if that clicks them, your paper would go to the review. Otherwise, they can give you suggestion to improve. You can improve.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zain. the question, I think that's all, because due to the time. Could you give the closing statement, Doc?
I just want to thank you, Doctor and Vice Rector, and all the participants for inviting me and listening to me. Hopefully, you would be inviting me again.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. See you for the next times.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Selamat.
Sorry.
Yeah, yes. Selamat sore and selamat.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. Okay, that's the presentation and the discussion that we have done today for this pre-conference workshop that delivered by Dr. Zain Rafiq. Actually, I do agree for much of what Dr. Zain presented, because when I'm writing for the Scopus journal, I actually just try to write and write, yeah. Don't wait and write, because if we don't start, we still thinking about the research, we still thinking about anything that burden us. We cannot finish our paper. So just write and write, and then after that, we just need to do the revision. Maybe ask our friends or our colleagues to read our paper draft, and then they will give suggestion or maybe advice for the our paper. So just write and write. Okay, next we will continue to the next agenda will be announcement. First announcements will be about the ICOSI 2021. The remaining time will be shorter, so we suggest to all participants to prepare their full paper, and then before you can upload the full paper, you need to do the payment, payment first, and then after that, the admin of the ICOSI 2021 will approve the payment, and then you can upload your full paper. And then see you on the conference date, yeah. Okay, next announcement will be the door prize announcement. We have already mentioned in the poster that we will deliver or give some door prize. The door prize is GoPay GoPay. So it's only applicable for those from Indonesia. So for Francois Haragakiza, where are you from, sir?
Thank you so much for this conference. I'm doing my master's degree of
I'm sorry, sir, your voice.
Voucher.
Sciences at Burundian doctor.
So which university?
I'm doing my Master of Nursing Sciences at University Muhammadiyah Jogjakarta.
Oh, I see. So we still can send our GoPay voucher to you. So please contact Miss Kansa. Yeah, Miss Hansa. The number is in wait. You can find in the poster. Yeah, Miss Kansa, the contact person in the for this pre-conference workshop. So please, for Miss Tika Marliana, Miss Dora, and then Mr. Muhammad Ahdan, Mr. Francois, and Miss Apri Andani, Miss Linda Yuliani, and then Miss Handayani. Please contact Miss Hansa to get the GoPay voucher. We will give 50,000 rupiah. Yeah, it's 50,000 rupiah for each. Yeah. So I hope that for 50,000 rupiah, I think you can get more than 3 nasi goreng. Yeah, I think you can treat your friends with 50,000 rupiah. Okay, that's all from me. I hope you can finish your full paper soon and then submit your full paper. We hope that all the abstract that already submit to ICOSI 2021, all of the abstract can continue until the presentation, until the conference. So I hope no one will quit until abstract only, but we hope that all participants can continue until the presentation. Okay, thank you very much. From me, if I have mistakes, I'm really sorry. And then for all participants, thank you very much for attending this meeting. For the speaker, thank you very much for the presentation. Bila taufiq wal hidayah, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Thank you so much.
wabarakatuh. Thank you so
Terima
much.
kasih Pak Zen.
Thank you. So I will.
narasumber dan UMY, thank you very
Thank you.
much for the
Matur
voucher.
nuwun.
Thank you for concern.
Okay, I will close the meeting ya. See you.
Oke.
Bye bye.
See you, Mr.